Hello all, welcome to tonight's beer comparison. Tonight I'm going to be doing a certain kind of comparison here. Of course, Sierra Nevada, because Sierra Nevada is cheap and easily available. What we have here is Celebration, which is their fresh hop IPA and their winter seasonal, and Torpedo, which is their year-round IPA. They call it the extra IPA because it's a little bit more amped up than your average IPA and the alcohol thing, ABV, but not so much so. This is 7.2, this is 6.8, so not too much of a big difference there. So we're going to pour these out and give them a nice comparison. So this is traditionally made with dry hopping. This is fresh hopping. Fresh hopping means using freshly harvested hops that haven't been dried, haven't been pelletized. And it makes for a difference in scent and flavor, but mostly scent I've found. Pouring it out pretty vigorously because I want the head to last. While I pour this one out. Both made roughly in about the same 2-week span, so there shouldn't be too much decay. And smell. You can see here, coloration is roughly the same. You can't really tell it in the camera, but this one is slightly more orange. This one's got slightly darker reddish copperish overtones to it. IPA's got this Torpedo IPA got a lot of juicy fruit, some skunk to it. Underneath that, some pine. In comparison, fresh hop IPA, pine resin is very dominant over the more fruity notes, and also not much of that sort of dank note to it. If I had to say, I'm going to have to say it in a sort of metaphorical way, this one smells brighter than this one. More sprightlier. Hints of mint too. Spearmint. This one getting a little bit hard to smell because the head's dissipating, and again, normal pint glass, so it's wider, so smells are spreading. I should have put it into the Belgian. But much more earthy in this one. Thick mouthfeel, not boozy though. Despite the juiciness in the smell, very much that sort of grapefruit rind and resiny bitterness all the way through to the finish. Bit of a woodiness to it. I should have gotten some water or something to go and clean my palate after. Pininess is a bit sharper here, and there's much more of a spike, but overall bitterness is about the same, I'd say. Maybe even less. Slightly lighter bodied on the palate, slightly more prickly with the carbonation. This one's a lot more rounder. This one, Torpedo. A lot more rounder, a lot more earthy notes. A lot more wide bittering notes. They're almost slightly herbaceous in nature. Bitterness is a lot heavier. It's probably higher in IBU units. Lays on the tongue like a resiny film afterwards. Very long lasting, very difficult to clear, which is why I sort of wish I went and brought a glass of water. I'm just going to go and grab a glass of water really quickly here. Much better. Both very much hop shows. Like all Sierra Nevada ones, I find that there's not much in the way of sweetness to the malts, even though they balance it out very well in regards to not having it come thin-bodied or that bitterness to become just too overwhelming. But not much cloying sweetness to either of them. Still very well balanced. This one seems to burst in the mouth a lot more. Again, doesn't have those earthy notes. How can I explain that sort of bursting? It's like that sort of mouth-watering feeling you get from juiciness, but without the sweetness there. So sort of like a tang to it. Given that sharper carbonation, if this one is round, this one is spiky. How's that for your sort of synesthesia explanations of beer flavors? So, one thing you can say about Sierra Nevada is they're both using the same house yeast in making this. So it all kind of boils down to the amount of malts used. I think this one might have a touch more caramel malts to it, hence the darker color. Excuse me. And most importantly, hops used in it. So, honestly, if you did this would be a little bit difficult for someone without a trained palate to sort of do a blindfold test on. I think I could probably do it, but then I've been drinking so many of these, I've kind of got it down. It'd be hard to do it blind, especially for someone who's not got a lot of experience with it. That said, there's still some differences for the experienced palate. And which one do I prefer personally? Well, they're both very well-made beers. They're both beers that I would like to drink and I will drink in the future. But if I had to go and pick one over the other, I would definitely go with the Celebration. Why? Well, because I tend to like the sort of brighter aspects of fresh hopping. And plus, I find Torpedo, while still satisfying, to be kind of a heavy beer. It's kind of difficult to drink more than 2 or 3 of these, you know? Yeah, I have a problem. This one, you can drink half a 6-pack of, no problem. It also tends to go and match better with food as well. It plays better with food. That being said, I don't really recommend IPAs with food. It's very difficult to sort of match the sort of bitterness with food. One thing I find that it's good for is it's pretty good with spicy food. Something about the bitterness of the alpha oils tends to go and clear that, burning sensations off the tongue. However, your digestive system doesn't like it very much later. So, both great beers, both by the same company, both somewhat alike, with the main difference being the type of hopping used. And for myself, like the Celebration better. Your mileage may vary. You may like the Torpedo better, or maybe you like Hop Hunter better, or one of the other ones that they do. Either way, it's great beer, and it's a good time to be alive and drinking beer. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Crazy Kwanzaa, and a zombie-licious zombie day. Cheers.